Good day traders, welcome back to this week's Market Fix. As expected, most of the instruments we covered showed breakouts last week, and for those who watched our video, I'm sure you have been well prepared to catch a few really good trades. And for those who's watching this week, we are expecting another good week with some excellent high probability setups being covered in this week's video. Starting this week by having a look now at gold. Gold has broken below diagonal as well as horizontal support on Thursday. We are currently trading below the monthly pivot at 1,775, with price closing on Friday at 1,750. At this stage, I suspect we might still see a move slightly lower to the area of 1,740. And the reason for that being that would be an area of previous resistance as well as support. And should price from there decide to retest this breakout area, that would probably happen in the vicinity somewhere between 1,780 to 1,790. Both of those areas, if I do highlight them on the screen quickly, we can see that that is not only just the breakout level of the horizontal and diagonal, but also a previous area of contest where we can see we had a price coming into this level being rejected. And just looking at those top shadows as well and the bottom shadows, we can see this is definitely an important area. So I do suspect price will come back into this area at some point this week to retest the breakout. Moving on now to UK oil. Brent crude has also broken above the diagonal area of resistance, currently trading up against the previous swing highs in this area at about 76.05 to about 76.50. So I do suspect this level to hold as resistance. Of course, also I do expect a pullback to either retest this area at about 74.25 or 73.25. Both of those areas, also just looking to the left, we can see we have doji candles, so definitely an area of indecision and definitely areas of interest for both buyers and sellers. If price were to break back into this area of consolidation, I do suspect price to definitely find some support from the monthly pivot, currently sitting at 70.58. Moving on now to our indices. Having a look at most indices, we'll notice a breakdown of structure on most of them, and the DAX being no exception here. We can see that we did have quite an extended consolidation above our yearly R1 pivot, which is of course very significant. Currently trading below horizontal support at 15,560. Also below that, very important daily 100 SMA and monthly S1. So it would definitely not be strange to see price trade even lower towards this area of 15,295, or rather we can just round that up, round that up to 15,300. And that is an area of both diagonal support at this stage as well as horizontal support. Just looking back on our chart, we can see definitely an area of interest, and I do expect some buyers to step in at this area and perhaps then retest the areas back where we see price having broken down from, and this vicinity between our daily 100 and daily 50 SMAs and about 15,640. Moving on now to the Nasdaq, we see something very similar. We can see this stop formation looks very similar to a cup and handle, or even depending on how you're looking at the small head and shoulders, with a very small left shoulder and a bit of a larger right shoulder. So should this continue to break down, I would at least expect price to go and test the highs, and I'll just highlight that for you as well. The highs from when was this? July, August. So definitely go and test that area, and that also coinciding pretty much with the daily 50 SMA, which has also been tested previously. So that's sitting at 15,215. So definitely an area worth watching. From there, we'll have to wait and see whether the price rejects that level, and because if it does, it will likely head a bit lower towards support from this yearly R1 pivot, sitting at about 15,000. So definitely also a psychological level. And there we also have our monthly S1 pivot. And then just looking at some areas of resistance. So as long as we are trading below the monthly pivot would be the area of resistance to keep an eye out for, and that's setting at 15,350. Moving on to Forex, we have quite a few Forex pairs that I'd like to cover. So firstly, let's look at the EURCHF. The EURCHF has on Friday broken above this diagonal level of resistance, also above the daily 200 SMA, as you guys can see, the red dot line here. So the question is whether we will see a move higher towards a resistance at 1.096. This is an important level of previous resistance, just looking and judging from the previous trading interest at that inner zone, and just judging from price structure. Having a look at our volume profile, we can also see that this is definitely a level of interest for both buyers and sellers, but I do suspect should we move into this area, it will act as resistance and pushing price back down towards this breakout level to retest it at 1.09, and from there we'd have to wait and see whether it can hold or whether it will reject and see price moving back into areas of support at about 1.87 and as low as 1.839. So that is all to be seen. That target level at 1.967 is also very close. Also very close to our projected this double bottom formation that we have over here. So if you project that upwards, you can see that also comes out to right about that level. So definitely an area to keep an eye out for this week. Looking at the USDCHF, very much a similar picture. I'm not so convinced that we will get as high as this level this week already, and there will probably be a retest still before that happens. And of course, areas of potential areas of interest for a retest would be at the monthly R1, and also the previous swing highs sitting at 0.926, and that breakout level sitting at 0.921. Both areas that could be retested if price comes back down into this area. Just identifying additional area of support. Should price break back into this area of consolidation, there is some support at this stage from what will probably be the daily 100 SMA or daily 50 SMA right in the center point of this consolidation, 0.915. Just briefly moving through some more currencies, looking at the NZDUSD. It has broken out of this diagonal area of resistance a few weeks back, and we can see that didn't work out. So that was definitely a false break, or could definitely be considered a false break, as this area has now been rejected. We are now moving into this area of previous consolidation, and I do suspect a move lower this week, at least to the daily 50 SMA sitting at 0.711, or just judging from this Fibonacci retracement, if drawn for the last low and the last swing high, we can see we have a 50% retracement at the 0.6988, as well as a 61% retracement at 0.694. So both of those definitely areas of interest should price continue to move into these areas. Resistance will be found from our daily 200 SMA, and also just judging from those previous shadows, there's definitely sellers stepping in this area. Moving on to the Australian dollar USD. The Australian dollar USD has now also continued its moves lower. We have rejected the monthly R1 pivot, currently trading below the daily 50 SMA and the daily 21 EMA. Price currently heading lower. I do suspect we will find some form of support from the 0.722 level, and just drawing that Fibonacci retracement from that last swing high to the swing low, we can see we have our 61 retracement level sitting at 0.24, so very close to where we are trading now, but still a little bit of downside left. Moving on to the GBPNZD, we can see we have found some support from the daily 200 SMA, and there's some contention at the level we're currently trading, but just looking at our trading levels, should price get back above that 1.951 level, which is the current trading range, which we've also defined last week, that would be the range over there. So if we can get back above that range, I do suspect a test of that daily 150 SMAs at 1.965. If not, we'll probably just continue to consolidate in this area with a break below 1.939, probably sending us towards the support at the monthly S1 at 1.930. Looking at the EURGBP, the EURGBP also struggling to get some momentum, very much stuck in consolidation for quite a couple of months now. We have a very important level of support at 0.85. So should price break below that, I do suspect we'll probably see a test of that diagonal support at 0.844. And if we can manage to get higher, we'll probably test our daily 100 SMA at 0.856. We'll break above that, looking for a move towards previous resistance and that monthly R1 at 0.863. Moving on now to the GBPUSD. The GBPUSD has also now broken below the monthly pivot on Friday. So that is a bit bearish. Of course, we can see there is definitely some rejection here. So at this stage, the most likely scenario seems to be a move lower towards somewhere between 1.366 or the monthly S1 pivot at 1.3585. If it does reach one of these two levels, there'll probably be a pullback with another test of this area at 1.383. EURUSD will probably see something very much similar. We've covered this pair extensively over the last couple of weeks. We've identified this area quite a few times as an area of very strong overhead resistance, and we can see from that rejection how price has now sold off, and we are still looking for a bit of a move down, especially considering the momentum at this stage. So 1.170 definitely an area of interest. With a break below that area, perhaps looking for a new low and a break of structure at 1.1644. Should price recover at any stage, it will definitely find and struggle. Well, first of all, we will need to get back above that daily 50 SMA at 1.180, with a move back into this area, definitely finding some strong overhead resistance. And let's have a look at the USDZAR quickly. The USDZAR, we have advocated for a move or a retracement rather for the last couple of weeks already, and now we've seen that. We've already had a 50% recovery of price, currently trading at 1473. So that is a 50% retracement. It does feel like this week we could see some ZAR strength again, and perhaps a move lower once again. So it's really difficult to tell, but best to keep an eye out for is that the levels of support, which is the daily 200 and the daily 50, both sitting at 1454 to about 1450. So a break below that, we'd likely see a move lower once again. If it does get above 1474, I suspect we can make a move higher still towards that 61 retracement area at 1489. I'm briefly going to conclude by having a look at Bitcoin. Not much has changed since our analysis from last week. We can see we are still trading above support and our yearly R2 pivot. So as long as price stays above this 46,000 level, not too much to be worried about. If it does trade below that or close below that, I do suspect we'll see a deeper pullback and at least a move towards somewhere between 42 and 41. So that would be an area of interest, and I'll just highlight that to you guys quickly on the screen so you can see that is an area of interest that we would be looking at should price break below the yearly R2. In terms of resistance, very clear that we have some resistance from this area at 50,000. We really hope you liked this week's video. Going forward, we will be concluding each week's video with a trading tip, starting with this. Always remember to use pre-calculated stops when trading and lock in some of your profits as the market starts moving into your favor. Until next time, we wish you all the best for your trading, and remember, trade smart and trade successful.